Hi, can you answer this interesting question of skeleton? Which of the bone is longest bone of human body? So which bone in the human is known as the longest bone of our body? Your options are radius, tibia, femur known as thigh bone, or clavicle known as collar bone. Do you know the answer? Okay, the correct answer of this question, the longest bone of human body is femur. It is known as thigh bone. Friends, the femur is one of the most researched bone in the human anatomy and forensic medicines as the longest bone in the human body. Right? So the longest bone of human body is femur thigh bone. Okay, can you answer my second interesting question? Number of bones in skull is, so how many bones are there in human skull? Your answers are here: 22, 18, 107 or 29. The correct answer, the number of bones in the human skull are 22. Friends, the skull or the cranium is made up of 22 bones. Some of these bones are paired while others are not. Out of these 22 bones, 8 are the cranial bones and 14 are facial bones. So put together, the human skull has 22 bones. Very interesting. One more question for you. Name the smallest bone in the human body. So which is the smallest bone in the human body? Your answers are on the screen: incus, malleus, vomer, or stapes. The correct answer, the name of smallest bone in the human body is stapes. Friends, there are 3 bones in the middle of ear. Okay, the stapes bone is actually in the middle of our ear. So there are 3 bones. One is malleus, stapes, and incus. The stapes are the smallest of 3 bones and the smallest in the human body. Okay, the size of the stapes is 3 mm into 2.5 mm. Okay, so it's very small, least bone in the human body, which is in our ear. So friends, this video will help you to learn about the most important question that were asked on the skeleton of human. This video is going to give you the most important repeated question of skeleton in many competitive examinations. So, not taking more time, let's start. Friends, welcome to Dear Competitive Exam channel. This channel goal is to help you a lot with many competitive examinations. Okay, so if you're new for this channel, kindly subscribe and press the bell icon so that we will help you with the latest questions that we upload every day. Okay, so let's begin with the first question of this session. Which part of our skeletal system protects the brain? Okay, in our entire skeletal system, which part actually protects the brain? Your answers are ribcage, skull, pelvic bones, or clavicles. So the right answer, the part of our skeletal system that protects the brain is skull. Friends, the human skull is made up of 2 parts. One is cranium and facial bones. 8 cranial bones which are fused together form the bony case that covers and protects the brain. Okay, alright. So the skeletal system part that protects our brain is skull. Okay, let's move on to second interesting question. How many bones are there in human body? So do you know how many bones are there? Your answers are 33, 206, 639, or it varies by individual. Okay, So do you know the answer? Let me tell you, the correct answer of this question, the total bones that are present in the human body are 206. Friends, the human body has 206 bones. However, at the birth, the human body actually gets around 270 bones. As we grow up, some of these bones, fuse together, and hence the number of bones decreases from 270 to 206. When you're born, naturally we get around 270 bones, and when you start growing up, these few bones among them get together. They fuse together and they become one. Due to that reason, the present bone of an adult is around 206. Right? Okay, let's move on to the third question. Besides the brain, the skull also protects. Apart from the brain protection, what does skull protect again? What does it do? Extra efforts. The answers are: does it protect lungs, or diaphragm, the body's cells, or the sense of organs? Right. So apart from the brain, our skull also protects the sense of our organs. The main and overall function of the skull is to protect the brain and sensory organs and to support facial structures. Right? So apart from the brain, it also protects the sense of organs of us. Right, so let's go on to the question number 4. The purpose of ribcage is to. So what is ribcage made for? What does it do? Does it protect the stomach, or does it protect the spinal cord, or does it protect the heart and lungs, and none of the above? So friends, do you know what ribcage does for us? What does it do for us? For our body. The right answer, the ribcage protects our heart and lungs. Friends, the ribcage is a part of exoskeleton. It is made up of rib bones that attach to the sternum in front of, and the vertebral column in the back. So the ribcage most important function is to protect vital organs such as the heart and lungs. Right? So the purpose of ribcage is to protect the heart and lungs of our body. Okay, let's move on to the question number 5. What makes bone so strong? So what is inner bone that really makes it so strong? Your answers are silica, cartilage, blood and marrow, or calcium and phosphorus. So friends, the most important thing that really makes a bone so strong is calcium and phosphorus. Friends, bone is a living and growing tissue in human body. It's made up of mostly of two materials. One is collagen, a protein that provides a soft framework, and calcium, a mineral that adds strength and hardness to our bone. Right? So the thing that really makes a bone so strong is calcium and phosphorus. Right, let's move on to the interesting question, that is 6th. The hollow space in the middle of a bone is filled with. So what is the space in the middle of a bone is filled with? What is there? Your answers are: is there air, blood, bone cells, or bone marrow? The right answer is bone marrow. Friends, bone marrow is found in the center of the most of our bones, and it has many blood vessels. There are two types of bone marrow, red and yellow. Red marrow contains blood stem cells that can become red blood cells and white blood cells or even platelets. And the yellow marrow is made up of mostly of fat. Right? So the hollow space contains bone marrow, right? Okay, let's move on to the question number 7. What is a joint in the human skeleton? Your answers are: is it a hinge, a ball and a socket, or the place where two bones are joined, or the strong bone? So how do you define the joint? The right answer is, it is the place where two bones are joined. Friends, a joint is the part of the body where two or more bones meet to allow a movement. Generally speaking, the greater the range of movement, the higher the risk of injury, because the strength of the joint is reduced. So 6 types of freely movable joint include ball and socket, saddle, hinge, condyloid, and pivot and gliding. So there are totally 6 types of freely movable joints in human body, right? So let me tell again: the joint is the place where two bones are, or more than two bones are joined together, right? Let's move on to the question number 8. Muscles are made of. So what exactly muscles are made up of? Silica, polyester threads, calcium and phosphorus, group of cells and fibers. So do you know what our muscles are made up of? The right answer is group of cells and fibers. Friends, an individual muscle's fiber is made up of blocks of proteins called myofibrils, which contain a specialized protein, myoglobin, and molecules, to provide the oxygen and energy required for muscles contraction. Each myofibril contains filaments that fold together when given to the signal and to contract, right? So our muscles are made up of group of cells and fibers. Okay, let's move on to the question number 9. What is the function of tendon? So what does tendon do for our body? Is it the link bones to the bones, or the link to muscle to the bones, or the link to muscle to the ligament? The right answer is, it is the link bones to the bones. Friends, tendon is a fibrous connective tissue that attaches muscle to bone. Tendons may also attach muscles to structures such as the eyeball. Okay, so tendon serves to move the bones or structure, right? So the function of tendon is to link bones to the bones and to move the bones or structure, right? Okay, let's move on to the 10th interesting question. The only movable bone of the skull is. So which movable bone is there in the skull, and what do we call that? Do we call it as maxilla, mandible, temporal bone, or frontal bone? So the friends, the answer is, the only movable bone of skull is mandible. Dear, the mandible is the only part of the skull that can move, right? But out of all these bones, only the mandible is movable, right? So the movable bone in the skull is known as mandible, and sometimes we call it as a jaw bone, right? Okay, let's go to the 11th question. The smallest bone in the human body is so which is the smallest bone of human body? Is it big toe, stapes, outfinger, or nose? The right answer is, the smallest bone in the human body is stapes. Oh friends, there are 3 bones in the middle of ear. That is malleus, stapes, and incus. Among 3, the stapes is the smallest of 3 bone and the smallest in the human body. The size of the stapes is 3 mm into 2.5 mm. Okay, so the smallest bone is stapes, and the biggest bone of a human body is femur or thigh bone, right? Hope you got the answer. Let's move on to the question number 12. Okay, name the smallest bone in the human body. I think you got same question repeated again, but let us check. Is it incus, malleus, vomer, or stapes? The right answer we have seen already. Is it right? And that is stapes. Okay, let's move on to question number 13. In which part of the human body does the smallest bone is found? Very interesting, right? So which part of human body the smallest bone is found? Is it into nose, foot, ear, or forehead? I think we discussed already one time in this session, right? The right answer is ear. Friends, the stapes bone located in the middle of ear, and it is considered the shortest bone in the human body, right? And it is the bone that is responsible for transmitting the sound wave to the brain, right? So the use of the smallest bone, that is known as a stapes, is to transmit the sound wave to the brain, and it is found in the ear of human body. Okay, let's move on to the question number 14. Friends, if this content is helping you, then please share your views that how we can make it more better for you, so that we will come up with lots of interesting and the right videos that will help you for upcoming examinations. And please do not forget to like and subscribe, right? Okay, let's move on to the question number 15th. Which one of the following types of medicines is used for treating indigestion? I think we got a different, department question here, because we have been discussing about skeleton, but it is something system of human body, let's like indigestions. But let us see whether you can answer it or not. Okay, so which one of the following types of medicines? So we're talking about medicine that really used for treating indigestion of human body, right? So is it antibiotic or analgesic or antacid or antiseptic? The right answer, any indigestion treatment is given by using the medicine known as antacid. So antacids act as a neutralizing agents. These agents treat stomach acidity by neutralizing gastric hydrochloric acid or preventing the secretion of acid. So this will help us. So this kind of medicine help us to treat indigestion of human stomach. Okay, let's move on to the question number 16. The pairs of ribs in the human body are. So how many pairs of ribs are there in the human body? Your answers are 12 pairs, 14 pairs, 16 pairs, or 18 pairs. The right answer, the total pairs of our human ribs are 12. Friends, in human there are normally 12 pairs of ribs. The first 7 pairs are attached directly to the sternum by costal cartilages and are called as true ribs. So the total pairs are 12. Okay, let's move on to question number 17. Number of bones in the axial skeleton is. So how many bones are there in the axial skeleton? Your options are 85 bones, 86 bones, 80 bones, and 81 bones. The right answer is the number of bones which are in the axial skeleton is or are 80 bones, right? Friends, your axial skeleton is made up of 80 bones within the central core of your body. This includes bones in your skull, ears, neck, and rib cage, right? Okay, let's move on to the question number 18. Division of skeleton is known as. So what do you call that division process of skeleton? Your answers are axial skeleton, appendicular skeleton, prependicular skeleton, or transcription skeleton? The right answer is axial skeleton. Friends, the bones can be grouped in two divisions. The one is axial skeleton and the second is appendicular skeleton. The 80 bones of the axial skeleton form the vertical axis of the body. So the division of skeleton, that process is known as axial skeleton. Okay, let's move on to the question number 19. Eyes, brain, inner and middle ears are protected by. So what is there to protect our eyes, brain, and inner and middle ears? Answers are carpals, patella, vertebrae, or skull. The right answer is skull. Friends, the skull is a bone protective cavity for the brain. Okay, the skull is composed of 4 types of bone, like cranial bones and facial bones, ear, ocellus, and hyoid. So the eyes, brain, and inner and middle ears are protected by the skull of human body. Let's move on to question number 20. How many facial bones does the skull possesses? How many facial bones are there in the skull? Answers are 22, 8, 12, and 14. The right answer is 14. The 14 facial bones include 2 nasal bones, 2 palatine bones, 2 lacrimal bones, 2 zygomatic bones, 2 maxillar bones, and 2 inferior nasal, and 1 vomer bone and mandible. So put together, we got 14 bones in human facial. Okay. Right. Let's move on to the question number 21. How many bones are present in the axial skeleton? 126, 65, 80, or 106? The right answer is 80. The bones of the skeletal system are divided into 2 parts, the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton consists of 80 bones. These bones are present along the main axis of the body. Right? Okay, let's move on to the question number 22. The inner ear contains 3 bones, malleus, incus, and stapes. True or false? Is it true that our ear contains 3 types of bones which are mentioned above here? True or false? None or more than 4? The right answer is true. The middle ear consists of the 3 bones. Let's go to the question number 23. Which of the bone is longest bone of human body? Answers are radius, tibia, femur, or clavicle. The right answer, the longest bone of human body is femur, which is known as thigh bone. Friends, the femur is one of the most researched bones in the human anatomy and forensic medicines. As the longest bone in the human body, it is well preserved in the skeletal remains. Right, so the longest bone of human body is thigh bone, which is known as femur. So let's go to the question number 24. The hollow space in the middle of bones is filled with. What is there in the space of bones? The hollow space, the air, blood, bone cells, or bone marrow? The right answer we have seen already. The hollow space in the middle of the bones filled with bone marrow. And bone marrow is found in the center of most bones and has many blood cells. Okay, there are 2 types of bone marrow, red and yellow. Okay, and the red marrow contains blood stem cells that can become red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. And yellow marrow is made up mostly of fat. Okay, let's move on to the question number 25. Name the longest and heaviest bone of the body. Is it femur, fibula, tibia, or ilium? The right answer is femur. The bone of leg consists of the femur thigh, tibia, and fibula leg. Okay, so guys, the femur is the longest and heaviest bone of the body, And the femur, tibia and fibula bones together support the shank of the leg. Okay, let's move on to question number 26. Name the thinnest bone of human body. Which bone is the very thinnest bone? Is it stapes, malleus, incus or fibula? Friends, the answer is stapes. The stapes is the smallest and lightest bone in the human body. Okay, let's move to the question number 27th. Finger bones are also known as. So what do you call finger bones? Do you call them as a hamate bone, griddles, phalanges or metacarpal? The right answer is phalanges. So guys, the finger bones are also known as phalanges. Guys, it is three types of proximal phalanges, intermediate phalanges and distal phalanges. Okay, hope you got the answer. The finger bones are also known as phalanges. Question number 28. The record of electrical cavity of muscles is known as. Do we call it as a electrocardiogram ECG, electromyogram EMG, or both A and B, or neither A nor B? The right answer is both A and B. The record of heart is known as ECG and record of electrical activity of muscles is called as a EMG. Alright. This is quite out of the context of like skeleton, what you're talking today, but it really helps you a lot to know. Okay, let's move to the question number 29th. The part of the skull that protects the brain is made up of dash bones. Okay. The part of the skull that protects the brain is made up of how many bones? 8, 7, 6 or 5? The right answer is 8. Friends, the human skull is made up of two parts, cranium and facial bones. The cranial bones, which are fused together, forms the bony case that covers and protects the brain. Okay, and rest of 14 facial bones are fused to form the lower part, in which only mandible, lower jaw and capable of movement. So the 8 cranial bones actually protects the brain. Let's move on to the last question, number 30. Number of bones in the skull. So how many bones are there in the skull? 22, 18, 107 or 29? The right answer is 22. The skull or the cranium is made up of 22 bones. Some of these bones are paired while others are not. Okay, so out of these 22 bones, 8 are the cranial bones and 14 are facial bones. Friends, hope this session helped you. If it is, then please do like and subscribe our channel and even share this with your friends. And keep watching our channel where you'll get a lot of interesting MCQs and information that really help you for upcoming competitive examination. So, good luck for exams, take care and see you with the next session. Have a great time.